Has there been anything that really has stuck with you and really was difficult to process? And perhaps you're self-selecting with the type of, you know, the type of production teams you're working with and the type of titles. But I mean, obviously, there's the various niche categories in porn where it's very um, manipulative and very abusive in their practices. I'm absolutely not saying about the industry as a whole, but there's definitely like certain sections of that.
Hmm.
So maybe you haven't really had a lot of experience with that. I'm not sure, but um,
I
that
haven't,
definitely
I
seems like it's
haven't.
self-selecting.
I haven't, I
Yeah.
haven't. But I mean, if I was to think about one instance that still, I'm like, that was a tough one to process. And it was tough to process for two reasons.
Yeah.
For one, the girl loved it and asked for it.
Hmm.
But even from my moral standpoint, it went way the fuck too far. That was really difficult
Yeah.
because it was this girl that she was directing the movie.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it was a gangbang, and I've never seen a woman beaten that hard on set ever.
Well.
I mean, for sure, those marks didn't go away for 6 weeks.
Wow. So she came up with the premise
Yeah.
and directed it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, literally almost bleeding. I
wow.
mean, I'm at one point. At one point, she asked the guys to, like there were these pool cues because it was like in this set where there's a pool table, and they started
Sure.
using the pool cues. One guy hit my finger with it because I was anchoring the DP, and like she's on top of me, almost broke my fucking finger. I was like,
Jesus.
I mean, he got the death stare from me. I'm like, you fucking even so much like I
Yeah.
was, but I mean, like, so I know how hard she was being hit. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You,
like I said, like we're talking welted. This stuff is not going away for like 6 weeks, and
yeah.
she thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread. So it's like because that was the only like I'd done a lot of scenes. I was like, okay, whatever. But this was the one time I remember looking at a buddy of mine. I'm like, we're all going to hell for this one. This is like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is too much for me, right? I've
Yeah.
been doing this
Yeah.
for a long time. This is way too much for me. And and it, like I said, that's where the other side of it is. It's like she's directing it.
Yeah.
This is what she
Yeah.
wants. So how do you start to rationalize that one in your brain, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm sitting here going, this is not in your best interest, sweetheart. Are you of sound mind to be doing this?
Yeah. Because I mean, it's one thing like that kind of more manipulative end of the spectrum. You can kind of see how someone might be kind of bait and switched or financially manipulated or whatever. But so that's one thing, and that's fucked up in of its own regard. But to be like, uh, I willingly have conceived, thought about this, actively participating and enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I am never one to fucking judge. I have
Me
done a lot
neither.
of shit. Yeah, I've done a lot of shit that a lot of people would think is odd. I mean, even my lifestyle of being polyamorous is something that a lot of people think is immoral. I get it. I will never judge anything that is consensual, but at the same time, as an empath and as someone who has dealt with and has been there for a tremendous amount of people with trauma, um, I'm just like, is there really a healthy way that this can stem from? And
That's
maybe
exactly
there
my
is.
point. Like that's
Yeah,
there
like
was,
like
you know what I
yeah.
mean? She does have a troubled past, that's for sure. I mean, everybody knows that, right? Like it's not like her
Yeah.
her life was roses. But again, that's where you're like, it 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 was difficult for me because it's like, okay, here's what you're asking for, and there's no part of me that actually thinks this is in your best interest. But
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah.
you're asking for, right?
Yeah.
And that's I think where it was like I just couldn't process it well because I'm like, it's like the part of me wants to be like, what the hell's wrong with you? why,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
why not just have some nice sex and let's all go home? Like why all
Yeah.
this crazy shit that I'm personally not into at all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And and for sure, you'd have at least half or more of the guys that aren't either, right? So, you have a portion of them that might really be able to go into some sort of, because everybody's different spectrums on their sadism, right? So it's like
Sure.
somebody might
Yeah.
be like, "Oh yeah, this is right up my alley." But for a lot of them, they're like kind of like, "Well, I'm being told to do this, right?" The director,
Yeah.
i.e., her, says do this, so okay, I'll do it. And then you get other people where it's like they're on that level of being extreme. Your moralism really starts to come up and be like, I don't know that this is a good idea. Even
Yeah.
though you're the one telling me to do this, I like I said, I mean, maybe I was one of the only ones that struggled with it, but it that messed with me. That messed with me.